Hola chicas, muy buenos días. So I wanted to go over with you a quick little review of the preterite and imperfect because I know it's super challenging. So we're going to take a look and hopefully this kind of clarifies and maybe kind of helps you see the preterite versus imperfect in a little bit different angle. Okay. So first here is sort of a little bit different of a breakdown between the pretérito and imperfecto. So for the pretérito side, we again have completed actions in the past. So for example, yo fui al concierto. Number 2, completed actions in succession or like a series of actions which we've talked about in the past. Se levantó, comió y se marchó. So number 3 is a little bit different angle, completed action with specific time period or number of times. In contrast to the imperfect, which is more of a habitual action or routine. In contrast here, this is a specific time period or number of times something is completed. So here the example I have is él llamó 3 veces. Yeah, so these are the frequency or number of times something was done. Number 4 is the beginning or end of an action. So when you see verbs like terminar, comenzar, empezar, verbs like that, those are automatically going to be preterite because they are the beginning or ending of an action, which means that the action is completed. So the example I have here is empezó cuando Luis llegó. So empezar, to start or to begin, llegar, to arrive. So those are both the beginning and ending of an action. Number 5, this one's a little bit different. So if you're doing a summary, typically you'll see these at the end of a paragraph where the narrator is summarizing or is giving a reaction statement or their opinion of the overall story. So here we have fue un verano perfecto, me gustó. So here is a summary of the summer and my reaction to it. Now if we look over on the imperfect side here, again, description of physical and emotional states. Lola era alta y delgada. Estaba triste porque tenía problemas con su novio. So here again, we're going over a description and emotion. Number 2 is again something we've seen, habitual action or routine. Siempre bebía agua. Versus again, something that you've maybe done a number of times or for a duration of a specific time period. Number 3 is the middle of an action. So when you're narrating a story, it's from the middle point of view, or like we've mentioned in class, an action in progress. A lot of times you'll see mientras, or you'll see something in the present progressive, the like estaba, estaba comiendo, estaba bebiendo, in that kind of context. And that represents the middle viewpoint of an action. Number 4, we have 2 actions taking place at the same time, so simultaneous actions. Again, we've discussed that in class. So mientras leía el periódico, su marido preparaba el desayuno. So here are 2 leían, preparaba actions that are going on at the same time versus actions in succession or the beginning and ending of an action. These are sort of in progress occurring at the same time. And then again, number 5, any background details, which is also encapsulated or also physical and emotional states fall under the umbrella of background information as well. So time, season, weather, age, dates, anything like that, colors. En 1978 tenía 3 años. Again, imperfect. Como era verano, hacía mucho calor. So again, imperfect because we're setting the scene with background information. So here are some little tips and tricks that denote either the preterite and imperfect. So usually when you see words like primero, por fin, entonces, ayer, finalmente, o el año pasado, or any sort of time segment, that's going to indicate that it's preterite because it's a one-time action or occurred only a certain number of times, rather than indicating that it's something ongoing or habitual in the past. In contrast here, we have words that almost always indicate use of imperfect. Cuando. Now, cuando is tricky because it can sometimes also mean the preterite, so I would kind of put this in between here. Depending on the context, it can also mean preterite, so I would put a little asterisk by there. But a menudo, de niño, a veces, these three indicate a frequency or an action of habitual nature that occurred in the past. So these are little tricks. I would write these down and pause the video and go back and write these down. These are a little cheat sheet. So now I wanted to go over really quickly with you, do this together, and kind of walk through what we just reviewed. So here we're going to do a little paragraph with pretérito and imperfecto, and the title is Un estudiante serio. So we have el viernes pasado mi profesor de sociología decir que nosotros ir a tener un examen dentro de algunos días. So here right away, this el viernes pasado is a dead giveaway, sort of time marker if you will. So that means it's specific, right? And it occurred once. So that would cause decir to be dijo in the preterite. So we would say, el viernes pasado mi profesor de sociología dijo que nosotros íbamos a tener un examen dentro de algunos días. Now here, you can use this as description, but it's also how do I explain this? It's an event that has not transpired yet from this past perspective. So at the time, this last Friday, this exam had not yet taken place, so it's not a completed action. And since it's not a completed action, it's going to be íbamos with salsa on the I. Yes? So we have después de la clase yo decir. So again, this is a time marker here. Después de la clase, completed action one time. Después de la clase yo decidí, salsa on the I decided ir a la biblioteca para leer el libro que estar en la lista de reserva. So you giving this detail that this book was on reserve, this is background info, so this is going to be imperfect. It's going to be estaba. Yeah? So después de la clase yo decidí, one time, ir a la biblioteca para leer el libro que estaba en la lista de reserva. So this is background detail. Se lo pedir a la señorita, so I asked, completed action, y ella me lo traer. So I asked her for the book and she brought it. Yeah, so this is a succession of actions, completed actions. Yeah, so we would say yo se lo pedí a la señorita y ella me lo trajo. No salsa, salsa en pedí. Después de unos minutos. Then we have number 7 here, haber, which means there is or there are. So we're saying there were many students there. This again is background detail, just like with number 4. Therefore, this is going to be había, yeah, not plural, había. So había with salsa on the I, muchos estudiantes, y allí so there were many students there that were reading their texts. So again, this is going to be in the imperfect because it's from the middle point of an action and you're also describing. So we would say, había muchos estudiantes allí que leían, cells on the I, sus textos. Cuando eran las 5, now why eran here? Very good. We're doing a description. We're telling the time. We're giving background details. So when it was 5, I decided to go home to study some more. So we would say, cuando eran las 5, yo regresé, cells on the I, a mi casa para estudiar más. Okay, I hope this helps. Feel free to watch this as many times as necessary. Nos vemos pronto. Chao.